Welcome to the $10,000 Dilemma, where we break down whether a sudden windfall should go toward high-interest debt, retirement, or college savings. To transition us smoothly into the topic, we will start by laying out a clear hierarchy favored by many financial planners. Then we will examine the math behind guaranteed returns from debt payoff. Compare this approach with funding a $529 for a teenager, and walk through a simple step-by-step decision framework. Along the way, we will include examples, diagrams, and quick knowledge checks. Finally, we will wrap up with a summary and a brief disclaimer. Here is today's agenda. First, we will cover the recommended priority order. Next, we will compare guaranteed returns from paying off high-interest debt with uncertain short-term investment benefits. Then, we will weigh debt payoff against a $529 contribution for a teenager. After that, we will focus on why cash flow matters so much, followed by a 5-step decision playbook. We will include short quizzes along the way. Lastly, we will summarize and provide a brief disclaimer. Financial planners commonly recommend funding your own retirement first because your long-term security ultimately supports your family. Once retirement accounts are optimized, then it makes sense to consider college savings. This prioritization provides a resilient safety net and helps you avoid jeopardizing your future stability. Here is the recommended hierarchy. First, maximize retirement contributions, including capturing any employer match and considering tax-advantaged accounts like IRAs or HSAs where appropriate. Second, eliminate high-interest consumer debt, typically any rate over about 5 to 6% annual percentage rate. Third, only after those are addressed, consider college funding, especially noting that a child age 14 or older has a short investment horizon that often requires conservative allocations. Finally, favor choices that improve monthly cash flow, since cash flow relief reduces stress and creates flexibility for future goals. This flowchart starts with a $10,000 windfall. The first question asks whether you have high-interest consumer debt above about 5 to 6%. If you do, the flow directs you to pay it down to improve monthly cash flow and then reassess your goals. If not, the next question asks whether you have maximized retirement contributions, including any employer match. If you have not, it directs you to contribute to retirement accounts. If you have, the next question evaluates whether you are considering a 529 plan for a child age 14 or older. If yes, the flow notes a short time horizon that generally requires conservative allocation, so the potential tax advantage may be minimal, and it suggests you consider prioritizing cash flow or other goals. If the child is younger, a longer horizon may make a 529 more reasonable, but it advises you to check gift tax and state rules. A side note reminds you that if a home purchase is coming up soon, cash flow and debt-to-income ratio often matter more than minor changes to private mortgage insurance. Let's compare the math. Paying off a 6% interest debt produces a guaranteed 6% return through avoided interest, which is effectively risk-free. In contrast, a $529 contribution for a 14-year-old generally requires conservative investments with less growth potential due to a short investment horizon. Bond-heavy or cash-heavy allocations often underperform the guaranteed savings that come from eliminating high-interest debt. Additionally, while some states offer tax deductions for 529 contributions, the benefit may be relatively small for short time frames and may not overcome the limited growth from conservative allocations. Meanwhile, improving cash flow begins immediately and supports better financial decisions down the road. On the left, paying down debt offers guaranteed savings on interest, immediate improvement in cash flow, and a potentially better debt-to-income ratio for future lending decisions. It also reduces financial stress and overall risk. On the right, a 529 lump sum contribution for a 14-year-old typically must be invested conservatively due to the short time horizon, which limits compounding. The tax benefit at this stage may be marginal, and the funds are restricted to qualified education expenses. These trade-offs often tilt the decision toward debt payoff in this specific scenario. This table summarizes illustrative outcomes. Paying off 6% debt delivers an approximate 6% guaranteed savings immediately and frees cash flow. A 529 contribution for a 14-year-old might earn 2 to 4% given conservative allocations and the short 3 to 4 year horizon, with limited liquidity because funds are restricted to qualified educational expenses. State deductions vary widely and can be helpful, but often their marginal benefit is small compared with the constraints of a short horizon. Cash flow is powerful. Freeing $500 per month can quickly build emergency savings, support increased retirement contributions, and improve your debt-to-income ratio before a home purchase, all of which amplify financial resilience. This pie chart illustrates one possible allocation of a freed $500 per month, with $200 to an emergency fund, $200 to extra retirement contributions, and $100 to a flexible buffer. This is only an example. Your actual allocation should reflect your unique goals and risk tolerance. The central idea is that paying down debt unlocks options. This timeline begins at age 14 and ends around age 18 when college typically starts. Over these 4 years, allocation glide paths become conservative to reduce volatility. While this reduces risk, it also limits the potential for growth. Any state tax deduction would typically be realized annually, which may be relatively small. And tuition payments begin at or after age 18. The short horizon constrains compounding and narrows the potential advantage of a new 529 contribution for an older student. Follow these steps. First, confirm you have an adequate emergency fund, typically 3 to 6 months of expenses. Second, ensure you capture any employer retirement match and evaluate your retirement contributions. Third, list all debts with interest rates and prioritize paying off anything above about 5 to 6% annual percentage rate. Fourth, if considering a 529 plan, identify the student's age to understand the investment time horizon. Fifth, model your cash flow after payoff and prioritize choices that increase monthly flexibility. Quiz time. The question is, which financial priority generally comes first when a windfall arrives? Option A, fund a 529 plan immediately. Option B, maximize retirement contributions. Option C, make a small extra mortgage principal payment. Option D, buy new gadgets. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is B, maximize retirement contributions. This reflects the priority of securing your long-term financial stability through tax-advantaged accounts, often with the added benefit of an employer match. There are important nuances. Low-interest debt, around 2 to 3%, may not be the first target if you still have attractive retirement contribution space. An employer 529 match or unusually strong state benefits can change the calculus. Ensure your emergency fund is adequate before aggressively paying down debt. If you anticipate a home purchase, debt-to-income ratios and cash reserves carry significant weight. Always compare after-tax outcomes while keeping time horizons front and center. Here is the second quiz question. Which choice most closely resembles a risk-free return in this context? Option A, paying off 6% APR consumer debt. Option B, investing in a short horizon 529 for a 14-year-old. Option C, timing the stock market for quick gains. Option D, buying collectibles. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is A, paying off 6% APR consumer debt. The avoided interest functions like a guaranteed return because it is a certain reduction in your costs. Here are the key takeaways. First, fund your retirement before other goals. Second, eliminate high-interest consumer debt to capture guaranteed savings. Third, for teenagers around age 14 and older, a short time horizon in a 529 plan often requires conservative allocations that yield modest benefits. Fourth, improvements in monthly cash flow commonly outweigh marginal tax perks. Fifth, always verify your state's rules, applicable gift limits, and your personal tax situation. To summarize, use the hierarchy of retirement, then high-interest debt, and then college savings. Compare the guaranteed savings from paying down debt to the generally conservative and shorter horizon returns of a new 529 for an older student. Model your monthly cash flow. Freeing $500 can be transformative. Verify state-specific 529 rules and federal gift tax guidelines. Finally, run through the 5-step playbook before allocating your windfall. Disclaimer: this content is educational and not financial, tax, or legal advice. Your situation is unique, and you should consult a qualified advisor. State 529 benefits and gift tax rules vary by jurisdiction. Investment returns are not guaranteed, and interest rates and product terms can change. Thank you for watching. If this was helpful, please like the video, share it with someone who could benefit, and subscribe for more content. In the comments, tell us how you would use a $10,000 windfall and what decision factors matter most to you.